could be better than one horror story? Well, how about 10? Yes, this is an anthology movie review, and I am the Artie Dance from the Shock Mania YouTube channel, and I welcome you to this review. Now, if you've been watching me on any of my other channels, you'll know that I utterly detest anthology movies. In fact, I only think, in my opinion, there's only one good one ever made, and that was Kwaidan from Japan. Other than that, I am not a fan of anthology horror movies at all. But this a little bit different, because instead of the usual 3 short stories, we get 10 mini stories, kind of like WarioWare, that type of thing, where you get a lot of mini games instead of a few longer games. So does that mean that I actually might enjoy this one? Well, let's check out what each of the 10 stories is about. And this one's long, so hold on. It's worth noting here that none of the stories intertwine. That means they're all standalone films with their own individual casts. So let's explore each one as they appear in this movie. First up, The Tunnel. A suspicious-looking man accidentally runs over a woman and tries to dump her body in the woods, but his car breaks down in a tunnel and the ghost of the woman attacks him. The Woman in Red. A woman moves into a new apartment after the death of her friend by suicide. However, there's a mysterious woman in red who keeps following her, and she doesn't know why, but she soon will. Toothworms. A man visits a dentist complaining of pain in his gums. An X-ray reveals an infestation of worms, not seen in Korea for almost 100 years. As the dentist attempts to perform surgery to get rid of the infestation, the man turns a bit rabid. Necromancy. After the death of her best friend by suicide, a schoolgirl finds a diary which details a ritual to bring a person back from the dead. So she tries it out. The Wall. A man moves into an apartment and gets frustrated that his neighbour keeps knocking on his wall. After he meets her in the elevator, he decides to use the knocking to communicate with her, with unexpected results. The Closet. A young woman picks up a custom-made closet for free off a rather strange man. She then starts to experience some creepy events and discovers a false back in her new piece of furniture. Ghost Marriage. A young man is headhunted by a marketing company for a prestigious role. In his interview, he answers some strange and personal questions and later finds out the real reason why. The Girl in the Mirror. A young woman, desperate to be a social media influencer, does whatever she can to become famous, except it only brings out her ugly side. A Mannequin. A young man working for a mannequin hiring firm is told a creepy tale about his employer's stock, but is there more to the tale than there should be? Escape Game. 3 escape game influencers are invited to try out the Ultimate Challenge, a satanic-themed escape game where the winner will receive a huge cash award, but there can only be one winner. So that was a rather lengthy wrap-up of the 10 tales in this film. Now, what if I told you I actually enjoyed this one? But that comes with some caveats. So first I want to tell you what I didn't like. Now, I have no knowledge of the urban myths that are mentioned in this film, and the film doesn't really go to any real effort to explain them. So that means that the shorter tales, like Tunnel, which is the one that starts off the film, it's not impactful. And it feels more like one of the short movies at the start of a Pixar film, rather than being part of the film itself. And my guess is that if you know about these tales, then you'll probably enjoy this film a lot more. Now, my guess, uneducated as it possibly is that all these tales are probably based off internet stuff. So, online forums or message boards. And I'm also guessing that unless you're Korean, you're really not going to know too much about these, unless you're one of those super obsessed K-pop people who loves everything about Korea. Now, here's something. One of the tales, Toothworms, I was kind of enjoying it. But then it did the most typical Korean horror movie thing that Korea could possibly do, and it turns into a zombie movie. So that kind of sucked, actually. And you know what? I just want to watch a wacky Korean movie, horror movie, without zombies. That's it. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I also thought that 10 stories was probably 2 stories too many. 8 could have been good, we could have cut down the running time because it clocks in at almost 2 hours. So a 100-minute running time with 8 tales, I reckon that would have been a little better. But what do I know? I'm just a dude who watched it. However, there's actually a lot more that I did like about the film. Surprise, surprise. There are 3 tales in this film that I utterly adored. Escape games and The Girl in the Mirror. They were terrific, but the real winner of this movie has to be A Mannequin. If they could make full-length movies out of those 3 tales, especially A Mannequin, I wouldn't say no to that. I would love to watch what a talented director could do with those 3 tales. There's also some really clever visual effects used in this movie. Specifically, because you've seen the thumbnail of this video, the mouth that's used in the toothworm scene. Now, that reminded me a lot of, what's her name? Yoshie from Death Forest 2, because there's a shot from that movie from inside her mouth, and you can see it. And it's similar to this. In fact, Tooth Worm starts off with that shot, and it's quite cool. I think it really looks great. Also in Necromancy, there's a shot of the spirit eating the girl. I think that looks terrific as well. But again, the real winner for the visual effects stakes has to go to A Mannequin. The effects are genuinely creepy and well done. The makeup is fantastic, the way that they make people look like mannequins. And each tale also had a really nice wrap-up. Now, obviously some were better than others, but none of the tales ended on a cliffhanger. So you kind of knew not exactly, you kind of knew that they would end, and they would end satisfactorily enough. They might not have started great, and surely there might not be enough meat on some of the bones in some of the tales, but at least they end well. And I think the ordering of the tales in the movie is done right. They've clearly saved the best 3 to last, or at least in my opinion. And while they might have started off a bit weak with The Tunnel, again, making it feel like a short that belongs at the start of a Pixar film, the next tale, which is The Woman in Red, is actually really interesting, and it was a very strong start to the film. And lastly, it's Korean, so that means everyone's super good looking. And that's a good thing, right? We don't like looking at ugly people in movies, so hey, +1 for that one. Now, I hate to say this, but I really enjoyed this anthology film. This is going to go in the very rare pile of anthology movies that I enjoy, along with Kwaidan and 3 Extremes. I can't believe that I actually enjoyed it. And if anyone asked me about it, I would actually talk quite positively about this film. And especially considering I think Korean horror movies have been really rubbish lately, it is great to watch a Korean horror film that's actually really enjoyable. And it's something a little different, and that's why I would recommend it. Just don't get too invested in any of the tales, because, like I said, there's not enough meat on some of them, but it is fun. And I think you'll find a couple of favorites that you like out of it too. So what I'm going to do, we're using the Great Horror or Stupid Trash rating, the Ghost rating. I'm going to award this one 3 ghosts. I think this is definitely a really enjoyable film that you should watch. If you've seen Urban Myths, what did you think of it? Of the 10 tales in Urban Myths, which ones were your favourites? Maybe rank them. What do you think of the 3 that I thought were fantastic? Thank you for watching this review on Shockmania, where there'll be more movie reviews for horror stuff coming up in the future, including horrors from around the world, not just Asia. So I hope you enjoy what we've got coming up. Thank you very much. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel that you're currently watching. And otherwise, I will catch you in our next review.